Chapter 3 What did you say? Yi Lingtian's body trembled, an unbelievable look appeared in his eyes, and a huge wave was set off in his heart. After becoming the Supreme Being, he once used his power to investigate the past events of that year, but he did not find anything out of the ordinary. All clues showed that the adoptive father Yu Changfeng was assassinated by 4 henchmen and died, so Yi Lingtian did not suspect him. But now listening to Guo Zhenken's words, the tragedy was not as simple as it seemed on the surface. Say, who is the mastermind behind the scenes? Yi Lingtian grabbed Guo Zhenken by the collar and asked angrily. A look of panic appeared on Guo Zhenken's face, as if he recalled some terrifying existence. That person is. Just when Guo Zhenken was about to name the mastermind behind the scenes. Pop. The lights in the entire banquet hall went out, and it was pitch black. Power outage. Suddenly, a loud bang resounded like thunder, and the floor-to-ceiling windows of the banquet hall shattered. Not good. The enemy is attacking. It is a sniper. Years of fighting instinct made Yi Ling dodge the world, a rollover, and instantly appeared 5 meters away. The next moment, Guo Zhenken's head exploded with blood flowers, as if a watermelon fell on the ground, his brains splashed with blood. One shot to the head. By the moonlight outside the window, Yi Lingtian looked at Guo Zhenken's corpse. His face was extremely gloomy, his eyes were burning with anger. Just as he was about to find out the real murderer who killed his adoptive father, who knew that Guo Zhenken suddenly died suddenly, and the clues were interrupted. Supreme, the enemy should have shot from the building opposite the hotel. I'll go after the murderer. Wei Lei said solemnly. No need. Yi Lingtian waved his hand, leaned over to pick up a silver bullet, and said coldly. The Barrett M82A1 sniper rifle, also known as the King of Sniping, is equipped with a 0.50-inch caliber bullet, which is highly accurate and powerful. Has a long range, and can cut a target person 1,000 meters away in half. The domestic who can get this sniper is definitely not an ordinary person. It seems the adoption of the father's death that year. No, it seems so simple on the surface. Someone wanted to hide this secret, so they silenced Guo Zhenken. Speaking of which, Yi Lingtian's eyes were sharp, revealing a sharp edge like a needle point, which captured people's hearts and souls. Check. Everyone in the banquet hall just now is a suspicious object. In 3 days, I need to know all their information. Yes, Supreme. Wei Lei immediately bowed his head in a respectful tone. When the Supreme was furious, he buried millions of corpses and bleeds thousands of miles. If it was someone else, they might be helpless in the face of this situation, but what Yi Lingtian wants to do, so far, he has not been able to do it. Lei Zi, please deal with Guo Zhenken. Yi Lingtian said, left the hotel, and took a taxi to the old house. The old house, the residence of his adoptive father, Yu Changfeng, was located in an old residential area. Yi Lingtian had a lot of childhood memories there. When he returned to the East China Sea this time, he naturally wanted to go there and have a look. Half an hour later, standing in front of the old house, holding the rusted key, Yi Lingtian felt a surge of sorrow in his heart. The door has not been opened for a long time. 8 years of military service, come back with glory. It's a pity things are right and wrong, and the old friend is not there. Just when Yi Lingtian was deep in thought, a soft call suddenly came from behind. Brother Lingtian, is that you? The voice trembled a little, perhaps because it wasn't quite sure. Yi Lingtian turned around abruptly and saw a young girl standing behind him. Apricot eyes and peach cheeks, character limit is exceeded. Yi Lingtian recognized her at a glance. The girl's name is Yuan Shui, and she lives next door to her neighbor. She is Yi Lingtian's childhood sweetheart. When she was a child, she followed Yi Lingtian's ass all day long, and even shouted that she would marry him when she grew up. Even if Yu Changfeng made a lot of money and moved to the villa, Yi Lingtian would often come back to play with Yuan Shui. But after the bloody case 8 years ago, Yi Lingtian joined the army, never came back, and cut off contact with Yuan Shui. Unexpectedly, Yuan Shui has grown from the little girl back then to a bright and attractive beauty after not seeing her for many years. There is a girl next door growing up. Brother Lingtian, is it really you? The joy of reuniting after a long absence made Yuan Shui put down all restraint and threw herself into Yi Lingtian's arms, holding her jade arms tightly. His waist. It's me, I'm back. Yi Lingtian patted her shoulder and said in a deep voice. Hearing the familiar voice, Yuan Shui's eyes instantly flushed red, and there were faint sparkling tears swirling in it. It's been 8 years. For the past 8 years, Yuan Shui has been entrusting someone to look for Yi Lingtian, but there has been no news. Who would have thought that the person who was thinking about it all the time appeared in front of her eyes like this, which made her feel a little unbelievable, for fear that it was a dream. Xiaoshui, why are you still the same as when you were young? You like to cry. Stop crying. You won't be pretty if you cry again. Yi Lingtian gently lifted her pretty face, wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes, and moved incredibly soft. No one can imagine that the supreme killer god, who frightened the enemy on the battlefield, has such a gentle side. Yuan Shui nodded obediently. Although she hadn't seen each other for many years, there was a tacit understanding between her and Yi Lingtian, and there was no relationship between them. Brother Yi Lingtian, did you just return to the East China Sea? Yuan Shui asked with wide eyes. Well, today. Yi Lingtian nodded and replied. Your old house has been out of water and power for a long time. If you don't dislike it, come to my house first, and I'll make you dinner. Yuan Shui said sweetly. Faced with such an invitation, Yi Lingtian could not refuse at all, and followed Yuan Shui to her house. The house is not big, about 80 square meters, but it is well organized and spotless, giving it a warm feeling. Huh? Aunt Huang isn't home? Yi Lingtian asked curiously. Yuan Shui's parents have long since divorced, and her mother Huang Wei has always raised her. My mother, she was seriously ill last year and has been living in the hospital. Yuan Shui's voice suddenly choked. Sorry. Yi Lingtian didn't expect that he would poke into her sadness, and continued. After 2 days, I'll accompany you to the hospital to see Aunt Huang. Really? Yuan Shui's eyes lit up. Of course. I also know some doctors and friends. Yi Lingtian said. Hearing this, Yuan Shui shook her head slightly. Although she was grateful for Yi Lingtian's kindness, she didn't think Yi Lingtian could help. Her mother was diagnosed with stomach cancer and had traveled all over the East China Sea. However, she didn't know that Yi Lingtian was no longer the ordinary teenager he used to be, but became a generation of supreme and powerful. For those genius doctors that ordinary people can't reach, Yi Lingtian can call them with a single word. Afterwards, Yuan Shui cooked a table of sumptuous dishes, full of color, flavor, and taste. Yi Lingtian was not polite, and swept up the wind and the clouds, eating 3 bowls of rice. Brother Lingtian, eat slowly, don't choke. If it's not enough, I'll cook it again. Xiaoshui, the dishes you cook are so delicious, whoever marries you will be a blessing in 3 lifetimes. Yi Lingtian sighed sincerely. Character limit is exceeded. Holding a bouquet of roses in his hand. He was about 25 or 6 years old, with oily head and pink face, wearing a famous brand, wearing a Rolex watch on his hand, and Hermes on his waist belt. This outfit alone would cost hundreds of thousands, revealing a strong outbreak household temperament. The arrival of this uninvited guest suddenly ruined the atmosphere. Yi Lingtian frowned. Not knowing what the relationship between this person and Yuan Shui was, he actually had the key to the house. But seeing Yi Lingtian, the smile on the young man's face froze instantly, and turned into a hideous. Stinky boy, who are you? I've never eaten food made by Xiaoshui, one you are also worthy of TMD. Faced with the scolding, Yi Lingtian frowned and asked coldly, who are you? I am eating here, do I need your consent? Humph. The young man sneered, glanced at Yi Lingtian with condescending eyes and said arrogantly. This young master is called Hua Yingji, and is Xiaoshui's fiancé.